All right, I think we're live. Well, welcome. Hi, Jolene.
Thank you so much for having me.
I'm really, really excited about this. Thank you so much for being here. And thank you to everyone who is going to be here live with us and who's going to be watching the replay. A little bit about the Gathering movement and this idea, this project, this little creation. This is all about bringing people together across all industries, right? My industry is more of the healing arts and spirituality. And I wanted to really connect with people from all different industries to empower us. Let's make sure we're still live. We are still live? Okay, good. So here we are today talking about finances. And I think this is such an important conversation and one that can really empower us to feel in control so that when we look at our bank account or when we go look at our credit card bill, we don't have all those feelings of low self-worth and everything that can come along with it. So thank you so much for being here. And Jolene and I met a year and a half ago, actually. Would you like to explain the story?
I would. I would love to. So basically, we had a common person that we followed, and we basically joined a group and we did this mentorship program. And so Bridget was part of my she was my spiritual mentor, and she helped me so much. And it's so crazy that it was a year and a half ago, and what we had talked about then and all the building steps up till now and where we are now, it's so crazy. So I was just so thankful to meet Bridget and for her to help me on my journey of finding my voice and finding my passion, which now I talk about finances, and I am a Millennial Money Coach. So I basically help people with their finances and simplifying them so that they can live a more fulfilled life.
So needed. And I love the full circle aspect of, how we've connected. And it's been really beautiful because I've been able to see you literally start to use your voice and go forth on this path that, you maybe had always thought about, but it wasn't happening at the time. So for you, what does it mean to be a millennial money coach?
So I relate a lot of my teachings as well as like the simplification of everything to being like a personal, kind of like a personal fitness coach in that way, but with your finances. So instead of fitness, I'm going to help you level up your money in all areas of your life. So, yeah.
How did you find your way to being a millennial money coach?
Ooh. So I wasn't always good at money. I found myself in a lot of debt when I was following all these societal norms. So I went to school and got debt. I bought a car and got debt, and I bought a house and got debt. So I was in $200,000 worth of debt, and I was just like, I ended up into my career, and I was like, why am I doing this? Like, what am I gaining with all this debt? So basically I was like, nope, I need to change this. Something inside of me was like, I don't want to be controlled by my finances. So I wanted to be free of this debt. And so I basically started teaching myself all about personal growth and personal finance. And I read all these books and I was just like, I can do this. So I'm going to do this. So I paid off my $200,000 debt in 3 years, quit my job, and flew to Australia with my boyfriend. So I wanted this freedom that I desired, but I wasn't finding that in impressing all these people and doing all these shoulds that society tells you, like all these boxes that you're supposed to check. And I wasn't fulfilled. And so I started this spiritual growth path as well when I met you, and a little bit before that, and then I've continued on that journey. And it's just so interesting that how my finances have actually helped me level up and help me take that stress away and take that worry away, where now I feel like I can do certain things and I'm free to do certain things because I've gained this money control. So
that's amazing. That's
been quite the journey.
I can only imagine. Wow. So for someone who's listening and maybe they're also in $200,000 of debt, or maybe even just $10,000 of debt, where does this person need to start to feel empowered?
For sure. And that's like a very common question I get asked. And I always want to say you'll want to be in control of your daily finances. So figuring out, maybe you don't feel in control when you're swiping your credit card. Maybe you try taking out cash and then you feel more in control. So with those everyday purchases, you're making a good impact and being like, I have this cash so I can pay for it, and you're not getting into more debt as well. So
That's a really good first step. Yeah. Okay. So looking at your daily expenses, daily things that you're spending.
yeah.
What about looking at like what is necessity versus what is something that you kind of just want?
For sure. Yeah. So I have a free download that you can download. It's called a monthly finance tracker. And basically, what you do with this finance tracker is write down every single expense that you're spending on. And you write down if it's a want or a need, or if it's like paying off debt, whatever it is. And then you're going to evaluate how that makes you feel, as well as, do you actually need it? So that everyday coffee you might not need, but you want it, like you'll want to reevaluate those expenses.
I really like that, because as someone who has their own business, I think a lot of people kind of shy away from like the money. Like no one wants to look at their finances, right?
No.
It's not like fun. And I actually schedule bi-weekly money dates with myself to like go through what I'm actually spending. See, my dog's like, yeah, Bridget, thank God. But what I've noticed is it is so empowering. Like I really feel in control, because I can see what's coming in and what's going out and where it's going.
Yeah. And putting a different spin on it too. So you're feeling in control rather than, I don't know where my money's going, and like, why don't I have anything at the end of my paycheck? What is happening? And that can be a scary feeling for sure.
I agree.
That you do that.
It's fun. It's in my phone calendar now. What about like resources? I actually just started reading Rich Dad Poor Dad a couple of months ago, and I'm looking at my bookshelf.
Yeah.
And I Will Teach You to Be Rich.
Yes.
Yeah, have you read them?
Both of them, yes.
Okay.
So good. Love them. I also have liked, well, I love Tony Robbins. I've seen him in person, but he's totally a personal self guru, right? But his money book, Unshakable, where he talks to all these huge financial gurus, because he didn't consider himself a financial guru. So he gave a lot of insight of what the top people in the industry were doing. And I felt that one was super impactful. And then there's some more on the spiritual side, like Jen's, what's her last name?
Yes.
I Will Teach You to Be a Badass with Money, or
Yep.
I'm a Badass with Money, I think it is. It's a green book. I'm sure everyone knows about it, but it's a little bit more on the spiritual side of money, which I teach more on the practical, but I'm not against the spiritual side. Just because I think the foundations need to be there before, or not before, but your foundations need to be there in order to level up. And then you can incorporate the spiritualness in all levels.
Yeah, I see it as so interconnected, but I agree with you that we do need this like very practical kind of strategic foundation for some of this stuff. And that's how I see it, at least personally. And that's what empowers me in my own business, to just have like the practical stuff down, like, what's going in, what's coming out, what is the actual profit, that kind of stuff. So I love that. What do you think, and how do you think, this type of work in the world, being a millennial money coach, how do you feel that really empowers us to take a stand for ourselves and a stand for our life?
Oh, amazing question. So passionate about this. So I actually did a video about this exact topic, but it was surrounded by Maslow's hierarchy of needs. So basically, the foundation is your money. So if you're not confident with your money, if you don't have any money, or if you just like are in so much debt, all you're thinking about is your money.
Mhm.
How am I going to pay my bills? How am I going to pay rent? How am I going to get food on the table? And if you are thinking about all those things, you can't really live a fulfilled life, and it's much harder to like pursue passions and do what you want. And all of your thoughts are, can I afford this or should I buy this? Which is not a fun position to be in. So I really think that the foundations need to be there with your money, or else you can't move up the ladder on Maslow's hierarchy of needs, but also in your life. So you're not going to be able to do those fun things with your friends, or you are going to do them and then you're going to stress out about them later, and it's going to cause a lot of anxiety and going into social situations, or just something as simple as your rent. Like, what are you doing? Like, if you can't afford your rent, you're going to be really stressed out. So yeah, I think it's foundational to basically, you can't pursue other things and pursue your like fullest potential and your highest good when you're not in control of your finances or those basic needs. So that's where I stand.
Yeah, I can see that being true for a lot of people. We also really put money on a pedestal in all situations. So if we have a, lack of, then we're going to be focusing on that lack. So yeah, I do agree with that. What about, and why do you think this is? Why aren't we taught about personal finance in school really that much?
Oh, makes me like kind of sad that we aren't. I think that it's a generational thing. So when your parents weren't taught about it, and when their parents were growing up in the dirty 30s and they went through such a depression and it was such a taboo topic, I think that it's stemmed down like, no, money is icky, and there's so many connotations of, oh, millionaires are slimy and billionaires aren't any good and they're not doing good for the world or anything like that. It's really interesting. I think those views have just trickled down into the system, and then in addition to that, I don't think a lot of people are knowledgeable about money and not confident. So to teach it in schools, I don't think would be like, teachers might not feel confident in teaching that when they're in so much debt or they're not feeling confident with their everyday purchases, right? So
Ooh, I have
yeah.
a question from what you just said. So what would the world look like? Your work right now is empowering the individual to change their relationship with money, with debt, to be able to live those passions and do what they want, to feel fulfilled. What would the world, I've chills, what would the world look like if everyone was in control of their finances and doing what they loved because they've had this stability, just base level? What would it look like?
So good. I think so much more happiness. Like, people would be kinder to each other because they wouldn't be so stressed and like worrying and selfish almost. We're in a world right now where it's me, and all for one, like not one for all. So in a world where you're in control of your finances and you know what, like where your money's going, and you know that you're secure and you can afford things, I think people would be more giving and kinder and just happier in general. I think it would be amazing. And that's why I want to empower so many people, because you're so much more fulfilled and happier when you're in control of your finances. Like, from personal experience, I'm happier when I don't have any debt and my credit card's paid off even for the month, right? Like, and money's coming in. It's just such a better feeling, and you're just able to do so much more.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. And I do in some ways believe that this is where we are headed. I believe, and I see so many people my own world, who are all about empowering the individual to then empower the collective. Because it really is going to start with like that one person saying, you know what, like I need to take a stand for this. I need to do something for myself. I need to look at my bank account and just start making some changes. So I do believe that there is potential for us to have a world like this.
Mm-hmm.
Really do. Action wise, what would you say like 3 steps people could take right now if they're that person who's looking at their bank account being like, oh my God, what can I do? 3 things.
3 things. First one, analyze. So go through, like, use just a piece of paper. You can use my monthly finance check or whatever. Analyze everything. Analyze what you're spending on, how much your bills are, like do percentage like whatever's easier. Just analyze every single dollar. Second thing I think would be setting up a budget. And then third thing, set up a savings account. So put that money into savings or put it into your debt if you have way more debt.
Yes. I love all those. And for anyone who's watching, because I see a couple people on here with us live, let us know your questions, because I'd love to like get some questions in about maybe those 3 things that you just talked about.
Yeah.
And one of the questions was, what's your favorite personal finance book? So we got that. Melissa just said, oh, what a world that would be if everyone was.
Oh, yes. It all starts with you, though. You have to figure it out for yourself. It's just like the spirituality world. You have to fill up your own cup and feel confident and just fulfilled in your own life in order to help more people. So
Where in those 3 things would any like have fun still fit in? Does that fit in?
Yes. So I like, there's different methods of budgeting. Mm-hmm. When you're budgeting, you can have like fun money. Like you don't have to be like so strict and secure with it. A simple way to do this is to pay all your bills first, pay all your debt first, pay your savings account, and then the rest left over. Or you can decide this at the beginning, how much you want to spend on your fun. So whether that's like going out to eat or getting a pedicure or like having a spa day, you spend it on whatever you want. I'm a big believer in your money should make you happy, and money can make you happy. So setting a portion aside, whether it's $100 or like 20% of your income, whatever it is, and then spending it solely on you to make you feel good. So I'm not against like, this has to be this. Like for sure, go for it. And money should make you happy. It shouldn't make you stressed out. So you just have to find a method that works for you, whether it's a percentage or a dollar amount. Maybe it's taking out that cash and paying everything with cash and feeling so good about it and that you can afford it.
I love those because I like to spend money on things like going out to eat or buying food at like my favorite like local natural food health store that's more expensive, right?
Yeah.
And this brings me to one thing in, for me, Sethi's book, I Will Teach You to Be Rich, or maybe it wasn't in the book, but he says like come up with your own money rules. And I really like that because one of his money rules is like don't order an appetizer. And his reason was like it brings him so much joy. Because I guess maybe as a kid he couldn't order it and it was like, no, right? Like we're not going to spend on that. And now his rule is like, that brings me so much joy. So like whenever I go out to eat, I'm going to get an appetizer.
For sure. Yeah. I love
really like
that. Or like if you're at the spa, like I'm going to do all out. I'm not just going to get like the one little thing, right? Like just whatever makes you happy. And it's different for everyone, and really evaluating your values and what would make you happy. Like if getting an appetizer is going to make him the most happy, like why shouldn't he do that? Like no one should say no to that. And I think also you can't let other people say or get mad at you like, oh, that green smoothie is so expensive. Like, no, it's your money. Like you get to decide what you're going to do with it. And whether it's that or something like a car, like people can't get mad at that. Like it just not allowed.
Yeah, and I think that's where it becomes like it's your own expression of what the value you place on the thing, but you do have to ask yourself, you first have to get honest and look at your finances, and then ask yourself those questions. Well, what do I actually value? What do I actually want to prioritize? Like, what's important to me? Good questions for life.
Exactly.
That's amazing. So we have a couple of questions here. Let's our comments. So, Christabel says, I love Tony Robbins. Can't wait to read Unshakable. Kennedy says, is it helpful to identify top goals to achieve financially to motivate how and where to save and spend?
Yeah, for sure. Whatever gets you motivated. If you're a goal-oriented person, I would say yes, for sure, go for it. And I did that. I was like, I'm going to pay off this debt. And my original goal was to pay it off in 5 years. And because I stuck to my plan and my goal, it was 3 years. It wasn't just 5 years. And so setting those goals might be super beneficial for you, and it might help you even more. So I would say yes, 100%.
I love that. I love that. And I even think in like the spiritual world, sometimes we don't like have goals. I love goals because then you actually know what you're headed towards. Like, it's going to change your life. And personally, for me in my own business, when I started actually setting monthly monetary goals, I then knew like, okay, I need to do this to bring in that.
Yeah.
You have a path.
Yep. And you can set out action steps. So, and if you don't have a goal, then you're like, I don't know how much I should put extra on my debt this month. Like it's the exact same thing. Or for you, like if it's a monetary goal, I need to do this, this, and this, and that's how I'm going to reach my goal. So goals are super helpful.
On the same page there. I love that. That's a great question, Kennedy. Christabel says, been reclaiming my own finances this year just after readjusting to American life and the American dollar. Oh, she was in Morocco for a while. So you guys have both traveled a bunch. I'm sure you guys would connect. And then we have another question. Do you budget per day, week, or month?
Month.
Or all of the above?
Oh, I think it depends on you and how you pay your bills. I know in Australia that they pay bi-weekly, but they call it some other weird name too. They call it something. I'm not sure what, but it's different in Canada and the US. But here we pay everything monthly. So it makes sense for us to pay monthly. And I think just evaluating, maybe you get paid bi-weekly, maybe you get paid monthly. It's dependent on your situation, I should say. So whatever is going to work for you based on your bills and your income.
Yeah, that makes sense. And even personally, as a yoga teacher, I used to get paid monthly. So instead of paying things bi-weekly, it just helped me to pay them like monthly to stay on top of like when I was actually bringing in the money. So that's a good point. I like that. I have 2 more questions for you. Number 1 would be like, what's the thing that no one thinks about when it comes to their personal finances? That's important.
Ooh, I think savings. People don't put enough consideration on their savings. And then when something comes up, even just having an emergency fund is something often overlooked. And then once you're in that emergency, you're really freaking out and you're putting stuff on credit or you're getting a loan and you're really putting yourself in a worse position than if you would have thought about it ahead and planned for an emergency and had an emergency fund. So I think opening up a savings account is very key. This was one of the reasons why we were able to travel to Australia. Like our debt was paid off, but also we had a hefty emergency fund. So if like we could just get up and leave and it was fine. We had all our bills, we were able to pay for them, plus some, so we weren't worried when we actually were in Australia if something had gone wrong at home. So yeah.
I love that. I think we could be here forever. Because I have so many things like I could jump into. Christabel said, how do you decide how much to keep in an emergency fund?
Ooh, good question. So this would basically be when you're analyzing your finances, you're going to look at how much your monthly costs are, so your monthly bills, and then you're going to times that by either 3, 6, or 12. So meaning you would have a 3-month emergency fund, so you would be good. Say you lost your job, say there's another like reoccurrence of the global pandemic, maybe maybe you lost your job for 6 months, then you would have that 6-month amount of bills. And that's just a good marker to go by, but whatever is comfortable. And then you can work up to the 12-month mark.
That's a really, I like that tip, because I remember in the book, he said have like a year's worth of savings. And like, I think starting out, that's really overwhelming.
Yeah. Dave Ramsey recommends like a baby step of $1,000. So if you can just open up a savings account and start putting $10 like extra income into it and building up to 1,000, and then going from there, maybe a 3-month and then a 6-month.
Yeah, it's a great idea. Okay, this is a little bit of a caveat with this one. What about high yield savings accounts? Do you recommend them?
It's different in Canada than the US. But totally, I would recommend yes for an emergency fund, but then any other like extra savings, I would suggest maybe like long-term savings, I would put into investments.
Yes, yes. Oh, we could go on this forever, especially because a lot of people in this group are an entrepreneur in some way, shape, or form.
Yeah.
And this is one of the things that's very much overlooked. My dad is a wealth management advisor, so this is the only reason I know a lot about this too. But most people, I don't have an employer, right? So I don't have money that's going to my 401k or IRA. It's probably a little different in Canada, but this is something I think is really, really important for entrepreneurs to be putting money in some kind of investment or retirement fund, because no one is doing it for you. Like you have to do this.
Yeah, and it's something to think about. And there's certain nice things that the banks allow you. So you can set up an automatic transfer. So it would be very similar to an employer. And just knowing that money's already going, then you don't have to think about it. So
exactly. I love that. You're so knowledgeable on this. This is really, really awesome. So for the people who are ready to kind of take a stand for their finances, what do you have to offer them? How can they work with you, learn more?
yeah, for sure. So I have a new program that I just launched on a new platform. Yeah, it's called Work Out Your Finances, a 4-step system to becoming financially fit. So like I said at the beginning, I'm kind of like a personal trainer for money. So Millennial Money Coach. So I relate a lot of things back to fitness and just how like calories in, calories out, kind of money in, money out, that sort of thing. So this program will basically get you from stressed, confused, all of the things, into confident and paying off your debt and meeting your goals. So I'm super excited. I'm offering beta pricing right now. So send me a DM on Instagram, or you can go to my website. It's my name, jolenestahn.com. And then you can take a look at the program there, or you can just send me an email, whatever works, or message me on Facebook or on here, whatever is the most comfortable. And then we can set up a consultation call and we can get you into the program or consider what would work for you. I'm super excited about it.
It sounds awesome. I actually really like your analogy to the fitness trainer, because I think that's very relatable.
Yeah.
People know what that means.
Yeah, for sure. And like fitness, like money affects you in all sorts of ways. If you're not confident in your body, it's going to affect your everyday life, like no matter what. And I think a lot of people can relate to that. And again, it's society, which is not the funnest, but getting away from those societal norms and being confident in your situation and with your finances or your body.
I love that. We'll leave all the links inside this video. So if anyone wants to contact you, is it a self-paced course, or is it a live course?
So it's self-paced, but what I'm offering right now is for one-on-one with me. It's basically the program will take you from point A to point B in 6 weeks, and then you can book the 4 calls whenever you want. Maybe you want one at the beginning, one at the end, whatever works for you. Finances are different because it's like it takes you a while to figure out what you need to do and then start making those steps to get there.
I love this. I think this work is so, so needed in the world. I think you are going to empower so many people to really just believe in themselves, that like they are worthy, and that they can do this, because you are just a shining example of just that. So thank you for doing this.
Thanks for having me. It's been awesome.
Thank you for everyone who is here with us live. If you have more questions, feel free to drop them here or message Jolene personally. Thank you guys for being part of the Gathering movement. And one day this is going to be a live summit of totally awesome people across different industries to empower us all, and then live events. So stay tuned for all that jazz. And thank you guys so much. Thank you, Jolene, and have an amazing, amazing day, everyone.
Bye. Thank you.
Bye.